Oh, g'day guys, just going to do a preview for the Devonport meeting on Friday night. Um, Found it very difficult affair. I've got a couple of heats of the claiming novice drivers, and also a lot of query runners, like if we just run through them in the last. Fred's under fires, first up from a spill without a trial. Obviously you've got sort of not too much form in the 2-year-old race to work from. Queries on gate speed from Making My Mark. I think in this race you've probably got 5 of the top 6 in betting resuming from a spell or being first up. Obviously makes it very tough when you haven't seen the trials. Anyway, and the other thing as well is it's strange that I'll just actually go to the state premierships. And we'll click on the island. You know, if we look in this meeting, we haven't actually got Gareth Rattray driving, Rowan Hillier, Ricky Duggan or Mark Yole. So leaves obviously gives the others a bit of a chance, I suppose. So, but obviously Devonport's a track that's a couple of things really always shine out there. It's barrier draw and speed map dependent, which is pretty much the case everywhere, but doubly so at Devonport. And the other thing is it also, the drivers actually mean a lot as well. So I don't want to sound like I'm denigrating the rest of the driving population, but we've had about 500 races run so far this year, and what have they driven? About 230, so almost sort of virtually half the winners that Quartet's driven. So anyway, we take what we're given, as I always say. So the first, you'd imagine, looks to be 4 Ben Yole train runners here that look the most likely in Right About Chelsea, 10, 4 Pop the Cork and Lord Stark. Early speed burn's going to be crucial, but from what I've seen, like Right About Chelsea, she hasn't been used from the gate in Tassie, but she always used to have a bit in Victoria. First up, she only sort of hit the line okay, but they dead set walked in a 1930 metre race, so it was never ever, nothing was ever going to make substantial ground out wide, so not to lose any ground was, you know, a bit of a tick in that anyway. You'd imagine she leads. There doesn't look to be too much mid-race pressure. Lord Stark's had a few convictions in his time, but if Right About Chelsea leads, he's going to be camped right on her back, so obviously barrier draw sort of really suits there. 10-4's probably got the strongest, comes out of the stronger form lines than the rest of them. Does have a bit of gate speed as well. Obviously we've got over it, becomes the one to beat, but I think it'll probably be have to sit outside, and Pop the Cork's the other one who's going okay, but it's just actually a tricky little draw given its racing pattern. Of the rest, our Maxicam's actually going okay, but barrier draw hurts his chances. So yeah, pretty keen if What About Chelsea holds up that either 1 or 7 will win. The second, I'm actually working on Wash's chance not getting a start as it's emergency, so spot 8. It's very tricky here because when you first look at the field you think, crikey, he's thrown in here, he'll win for fun. Then you see outside second row over 1930 metres, and spot 8's not the type of horse who can make up ground easily. He's not blessed with tremendous high speed. He can sustain his sprint for an extended period, but you know, like if he found himself 20 metres off the leaders at the bell, which could quite easily happen over this trip, and the leaders run home in 60, he's got to run home 58 out wide around Devonport, which is not easy, so I wouldn't be rushing in to take a short price. Difficult to tip against him though, but there's a few horses out of form here, like Burton Bailey, Sutterman, like at their best over this trip. They'd be mighty competitive. I'm Ginger Rogers disappointed last time, but I think she's had 6 starts here for 4 wins and 2 seconds. Pushkin, he's pretty much a poor man's spot 8, but he maps to get a good run as he'll follow Sutter Man everywhere. But keep coming back to spot 8, but I highly doubt he's going to be any value as a betting proposition. The third, first heat of the novice claiming drivers. A few chances. I found it difficult to price when the ground shook. Like, she got a picnic in front first up in Tassie. Still impressed, so I marked a favourite, but right price could be anywhere between $2 and $8. So, just overcoming the second row. I think probably the safest way to play is Come On How's That. Like, he's won 2 of his past 3. Actually broke gear in the other one, and they were both in C1 grade, which this is. They were bottom up races, we need to sort of mention, but still hasn't gone up in grade, and he bolted in both of them. So, and he draws to follow the likely leader. So, I think it's probably the safest way or smartest. When the ground shook, just might be too good for them, but until I actually see her overcome the second row. And it's virtually D-Day for Jillaby GG. She's disappointed since coming to Tassie. She gets a chance to lead. You'd imagine there is a bit of speed outside her, but she did actually begin pretty well last time in Launceston. So if she leads, then shouldn't be too many excuses. There are a few other handy types in the race drawn a bit awkwardly. Crafty Old Fox, Diddley Bow, in Future Promises, guesstimate, probably be 3 fence like it was last time when it won. Yeah, but I think Come On How's That? It's probably worth a few coins. The fourth, as we pointed out, a number of these. You've got Sophia's Angels trialled okay. Master Doc. He's probably got his race form's good enough to be super competitive in this if he's right. Jemima's Joy. Rod Burgess has got super record with ex-Steve Late trained horses. Just can't think of the names off the top of my head. Deliver the Goods was one. There was another pretty handy one that sort of almost finished at free for all grade. Just can't think of it off the top of my head. Jimmy the Panda always runs home in his races. First Elva, first up for Mark Butler, recent trial winner in Sketch. She's always shown a bit of ability, so very tough race. I just think, even though it's drawn 6, and I'll probably go back to last, I just think Jimmy the Panda's quite well in this grade, so I reckon he'll give you a good run for your money, and you should get each way odds about him. The fifth, first looked at this, I thought Ebony All Stars was pretty much a good thing, but just been looking at making my marks runs in Queensland. Does actually have pretty good gate speed, and it's very tough, so the early burn's obviously super critical here. Like Ebony All Stars led from 7 in Launceston and was in front on the fence 100 metres after the start, so still happy to punt on her getting across, and if she does, she really should be winning, even though she's better over sprint trips when she leads. But if those two do happen to get into a war, then it could set it up for anything. You can make a case for a lot of good sit sprinters, On Full Tilt, Artarama, Lord Jones, 4 smart aces, but yeah, happy to back Ebony All Stars as long as you get sort of just into black figures, be okay. A 2-year-old, you got sort of the 3 colts versus the girls. Happy to stick with the colts. It's pretty difficult, just from what I've seen. Like, Birdie Mac's never been used from the gate yet, so it's hard to assess his gate speed, but Wardan Star's actually shown a little bit in his first start in the state. Also, when he was trained by Amanda Turnbull, he showed a little bit of early toe, so he just might be first over to the pegs. You'd imagine they'd race an Indian file anyway, so still brings Birdie Mac. Should have every chance anyway. I think if that occurs, one of the duo will win. Keep Playing's been okay at the trials. So he's in the mix, and the fillies like Lady Olive Oil, she's very dour, but she'll just keep coming at the one speed, so she won't be too far away either. And the last, as I mentioned before, Fred's Under Fire's first up. Hasn't raced in a while. If we just go and have a look at his form, just some of the horses he's been chasing home, like Rock the Casbolt, Scooter Will Rev, Moby Doc, Manganello. It hasn't been beaten sort of that far, like 18 metres behind Scooter Will Rev, 1.5 metres Rock the Casbolt, like 50 metres by Manganello, but ran home 57.6. So providing he's near right, you think he might be the one, but McAdam's been very honest since joining the Law stable. He's just keeps going at the one speed. LJ's Monza also very honest and just lacks a turn of foot. And Creator Boomer just might find the pegs first and run a cheeky old race, as he does tend to box on okay himself. So not really a night for good things. If I was to pick a couple out, just to be concerned about what price right about Chelsea will go up. I think if you get black figures, she's worth a bet. And just at a bit of value, have something each way. Jimmy DePanda. What's he had now? I think he's 28 starts or something. He's still a maiden. 29 starts. He's run 11 placings. So if you get $6 or $7 each way, he'll definitely give you a good run for your money. So anyway, guys, we'll leave it there. There's not too much more to do. Like, I must admit, I'm not overly keen on the meeting, but I have actually done markets and some suggested bets. So for anybody who expressed interest in that, I'll actually send them out shortly. I will actually update them as well later in the day after scratchings and that type of thing. So yeah, but anyway, just tread warily. And unfortunately, we've got to take what we're given. Some meetings you like about 6 races, other meetings you don't like any. So but in the long run, we'll finished in the right end of it. So let's hope we can sneak a couple out tonight and we finish on the right side of the ledger. But anyway, guys, we'll leave it there and I'll catch up with you later in the day. Thanks again.